Anybody can rewrite their own story. Just because you're starting a new chapter doesn't mean that the chapter 1, 2, and 3 don't exist.
It's just if I don't make a giant move right this second, I just can't.
Welcome to Mic'd and Medicated. We are so excited because we have Zibby Owens on the couch with us today. Welcome, Zibby.
Thank you. This is so fun. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I feel like I have this major celebrity here because we are just so proud of you being an insanely just staunch Zionist. And no matter what comments you get, you stay proud. And I know, but some people don't. So right off the bat, we're going to thank you for that.
Absolutely. Not to mention, I have known you forever. So I feel like I've seen you go through this incredible journey, building this media empire and being a literary advocate for authors and for women authors. And I just have loved watching your rise to fame. We have a celebrity on the couch.
No, I said that, but she's too modest. She said she's a normal person because normal people just publish books and have media companies.
And podcasts. But honestly, we spend a lot of time talking about just how to be purposeful and proactive about your life. And you are somebody who made some really hard decisions and really changed up, like going through a divorce, launching a business after you had already raised 4 kids. And so we really want to talk to you today and gain inspiration and hear about how you did that. Not to mention you are so authentic and vulnerable. And Caroline and I always call ourselves oversharers. And if you don't mind, we think of you as a fellow oversharer.
I'm happy to join the club.
It's a good club to be a part. But we also, believe that anybody can rewrite their own story. And it's not, you don't have to, just because you're starting a new chapter doesn't mean that the chapter 1, 2, and 3 don't exist. Like, doesn't mean erasing it. But what can you go to that moment? Like, what gave you the confidence? And I know I think it was Vogue, you wrote, you were 2 weeks postpartum and it was like the rock bottom in your life. And that's where I believe your story started to be kind of your chapter 2 started. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Well, it was a series of decisions. And when you say oh, you're a celebrity, it's so not true, first of all. But it's been a series of small decisions of what I thought was the right next step versus trying to launch something major. I didn't set out to launch what my life has become now. I got to a point emotionally where I was like, this is the step I have to take next. I have to leave my marriage. I have to go pursue this path. I have to. And I feel like sometimes we get backed into a corner and we're like, this is it. It's not like a debate, right? You can debate and debate. And then you get to a point where you're like, oh, well, this is clearly the answer. But then since then, every single thing has just been, I think I'll try this. Or what if? I don't know. I'll give this a shot. And it's all built from there.
Is it just getting to a place where you say, I literally can't go another day the same?
It's hard to know looking back, why this time, but I really think it has to do with the feeling that it just cannot go on in the current way that it is. And I know that's an oversimplification, but
you were probably it was almost like drowning.
Yeah, it's just if I don't make a giant move right this second, I just can't. I just can't go. And for me, that's how I know. I debate things for so long. And it's not like I'm impulsive. I can debate and stew and talk to people and try to make things better and do all the things. But then I get to a point and then there's no debate anymore.
Well, that's actually a pretty impressive skill because I think not everybody gets to that point where I feel like you're at a junction and then you can, just keep going on autopilot, even if it's not right. So I think it is, I guess for people who are listening, it's how do you know, what if you're were there signs before that, the in-between period of overthinking, stewing, and then I'm out? Or just was one day, it was that's it.
Right, because I think you don't give yourself enough credit. A lot of people get stuck and stay stuck. You actually, midlife, when you have a lot of roots and a lot of things that, could be considered permanent if you were to view it that way, you unstuck.
True. I did. It came at a cost. I mean, I won't lie. It is not easy to get divorced. I'm not recommending it for the faint of heart. But I think
it's better than the alternative.
In some cases, it ends up being the right thing to do.
Right.
And your parents and your grandparents also were divorced, correct? And married again?
My parents and grandparents were both divorced. And I swore I would never get divorced as a result of that. I was going to stay married no matter how miserable I was. That was the joke, like when I first got married. But it ended up that ended up not being what happened.
But I remember at your bridal shower, your mom stood up and gave this beautiful toast. And she talked about like our family does second marriages. Like, I don't know if you remember that, but it was great. I loved it. And having been a child of divorce, it must have been that much more kind of difficult for you because you had an experience of it as the child, which you speak very candidly about. And it's clear that as a child that impacted you.
It was very traumatic. It was 2 weeks after I started a new school. I was very shy. I was in between friend groups as a result, and I was devastated. I've always been super close to my dad. I did not want him to leave. I
guess in those days it was sort of like, I feel like you automatically were with your mom.
Yeah,
there was no question.
The terms are very different now. I was with my dad every other weekend.
That was normal,
and that was what happened. In fact, when we were negotiating, for which days, I was like, no, I think every other weekend. And people are like, that is just not what happens anymore.
No, it's like usually split custody, right? 50-50.
Yeah. Right. You're like, wait, that's what I did. I
know, I was fine. He came over.
But I actually think like I have a new job for you. Not that you don't have enough.
Yeah, I think she's enough
on
job.
your plate.
A writer, podcast.
I think like reading Bookends, which was your debut book, I feel like you write with such unflinching honesty and so beautifully about that experience as a child. I feel like you could be our next Judy Blume because you could help children feel like less alone. Like I feel like you could write those young adult books and people would really recognize that voice.
Okay.
All right.
I'll try that. I tried actually writing a middle grade novel with my younger daughter, and then we turned it into we adapted it as a graphic novel. It's half illustrated. It's called The Diary Hoppers, about a group of girls who can go back in time through their mom's diaries.
Ooh, that kind of reminds me of like Now and Then. I love that.
I know, but it got rejected everywhere. But
what?
Anyway, I know. I was just thinking about this yesterday and thinking, you know what? I should just like put it on my Substack because it's really good.
I love
a professional
that.
Why don't you just publish it yourself? Aren't you a book publisher?
Or you could do a kid's book.
Seriously.
No, you could do a kid's book on divorce.
I am a book publisher, but it's not like a vanity press. We do fiction and memoir. We have a very delineated list of what we do and why. And this would definitely not fall into the purview of
I think you could make an exception.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, no, I would sooner just like post it on Substack.
All right, post it on Substack and we'll share it.
Maybe I'll do a page or two and see what
yes, I love that. And but it's interesting. I think like the generation before us really didn't share so much. I think that's why I'm a little bit younger than you guys, but no one talked about menopause. It was like, you guys are the first sort of oversharers.
We're the pioneers of oversharing.
You're kind of the pioneers. And I think that would help, just even with divorce, which it's so prevalent. But I think I would just to go back to that, like, didn't you notice your parents were happier separate?
Oh, yeah. And I remember literally as they said to us that they were getting divorced, that parents who are happily divorced lead to better outcomes for their kids than unhappily married. I don't know if I buy it, but no, I'm kidding.
No, of course you buy it. You're living it.
I know. But I think having miserable, not that everyone's miserable who get I'm trying to couch this nicely, but I think that having an unhappy mom is really, really hard for kids more than people talk about necessarily.
Yes.
Right? This whole like mom being stressed out and run down and postpartum depression, just like all the things, like that is really detrimental. Like you can push through and try to like have your kid in the right baby class, but if you're sitting there crying yourself, it doesn't matter how many tambourines you're shaking.
And
No,
actually,
I agree.
You raise a really good point, which is like, even in a marriage that's going well, like so many women have trouble kind of reclaiming their story, because once you're a mom, your story becomes all about like children first, which I think is really different for a man because he can compartmentalize and go to work, play golf, do all these other things. And he's not also thinking about his role as dad in those moments. I'm going to assume, not that I've ever been a dad. So that was really very judgmental comment, I recognize.
Who cares?
But as a mom, even when I was working full time or even when I'm doing anything else, I'm still a mom first. And I think like that part of it's also amazing because you didn't need to build this incredible career, you were sort of at a point where you could have just been mom to your kids as they continue to grow and go through the world.
I think it's hard though. You mentioned, I think it was also in that Vogue article that you were just, you lose your identity. For me, I was a stay-at-home mom until we started Mike to Medicated. I did a little bit things here and there, but it does feel like there's just no external gratification. There's no one being like, great job. And you just like, I went to all these great schools and I'm so educated. And like, now I'm covered in spit up. And it's very hard to know that like you can start something. And I think for women, you can say it's okay. Like that's just a season of life. Like you can still, that's just a chapter.
But a lot of women, I don't think, have the courage or just you have to make that small first step.
So what gave you the courage, I guess, to not forget that just getting divorced and finding new love, but to say, okay, I've had 4 babies within a very short span of time. I can't just be at home doing this. I need to find who Zibby is.
Oh, well, it's so funny also talking to you about this, Eva, because you were one of the moms who was like out there conquering the workplace, who I was like, oh my gosh, look at her. Like she is killing it. And I was so jealous in a way, like you were just like crushing it. And I was like, I'll never be able to like catch up to people like Eva, who are just rising up in their companies and running things and chief this. And I have so much respect for you, obviously, and for moms who stayed home too. I mean, that's what I was doing, but it feels very like the path becomes so bifurcated and it's like you either get on or get off. Turns out that's not true, but that's what I thought. I thought that I either like went to McKinsey, which I was never going to do. Who are we kidding? After business school, or I was forever off that path, right?
Like a lean in or lean out kind of thing.
Like you have a decision node, and if you go left, you'll never get back on it. And maybe you don't get back on that exact same path, but the decision between full-time and nothing, there are lots of shades of gray in between there.
100%.
And I don't think I quite grasped that. I tried doing things like that. Like we were just joking, Eva, about when I worked for Gaggle of Chicks for like a hot minute. I was doing like little things or consulting things or getting really involved with nonprofits and like launching a whole big fundraising event or whatever. But to your question before about what caused me to do it, I really have had this drive inside me forever that I had to get my story out there in a book. Like from the time I was like 9, even before I even had a story, like
I loved writers.
I was like, this is just, I know it deep down and I don't know how I'm going to get there. And I had been writing a bunch of parenting essays that I thought as a collection could be helpful to other moms like me who are like in the trenches. And I wanted to sell it. And I had no platform at all, even though I'd been freelancing for many years. And a friend suggested I start a podcast. And I guess that was like a big moment. It didn't feel like such a big moment that day when I was like, I guess I could try this. And like Googled how to start a podcast and like recorded my first episode into my phone sitting on the edge of my bed. Like, to me, that wasn't a life-changing moment. It was I'm going to do something. I'm not even going to tell anybody because this could be a giant failure. What am I doing with a microphone? I'm a writer. Like I don't like having conversations is stressful. But I'd always loved authors so much. So to me, I was like, well, why don't I try this thing? And then as soon as I tried it, I started learning and wanting to know more and wanting to help more. And it has just led to all these things. So I don't feel like I made a decision one day where I was like going back to work. Also, I loved that, and I don't know about the two of you, and obviously your kids are older now, Eva, and everything, but my kids were still small. I think my youngest was 2 when I started the podcast, and I could still be at home. And I started with 1 a week, and that was a lot for me. Like reading the whole book every week and writing out the questions and interviewing the author. But I could read around the kids. I could, it was half an hour with the door closed. So it's something I could do with kids.
I also think you bring up such an interesting point because I've had so many conversations with Eva about, because I really took the time and was at home, and Eva was just threw herself right into corporate life. And she's like, did I make a mistake? Did I not spend enough time with my kids? And I'm like, Eva, that was the right decision for you. It just proves like women cannot win. You were looking at Eva and being like, oh my God, I'm so jealous. She's got this, she's in the C-suite and this, and I'm like covered with vomit and formula and a boob out. But Eva was looking at you and thinking like, you have it all together. You're like, oh, I'm so jealous that you can be relaxed at home with your baby and have this time and don't have to worry about showing up in the office. So
But I think that's also a woman, like that's such a central female issue that because we're not able to very easily be vulnerable with one another, we always assume the other has it all put together. And there's actually a great poster on the wall right here that we look at sometimes. It says, you should know that sometimes the grass is greener on the other side because it's effing fake. Meaning like
she gets it. And what I also love that you said is like, it doesn't have to be such an overwhelming, like, major moment. It could be a tiny little risk of starting a podcast or starting a Instagram profile. It doesn't have to mean you're just gone from your kids 12 hours a day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still not gone from my kids 12 hours a day.
Right.
I mean, I still try to structure my life and my company around the kids. Like people know I leave at 2:30 and I go pick them up every day and I drop them off every day and I don't schedule things after 3. Like I have structured my life, and I'm lucky, obviously, that I can do this, that I have the flexibility and I can, and the privilege to be able to, run this company and do it the way I want to and choose whether I want to work or not or whatever, which I don't take lightly. Like I'm very, but I still, in my mind, when you were like, I'm a mom first, like that is still the organizing principle of all my days, even when I don't have the kids. Like now I'm in such a rhythm. The other day I was like, oh my gosh, like every day at like 2:30, my brain just like shuts off because I'm so used to going to pick up.
Wow.
No, I think it is true. And I think so many women don't admit that, but it's very hard to switch it off because and compartmentalize. And I think
I have the opposite.
Yeah, you're better at compartmentalizing.
We'll be working and Caroline will say like, I got to shut things down. It's 2:45. I got to go get my kids. And I have a daughter that needs to be picked up at 3. Had she not reminded me, I would have just kept working till 6 because my muscle for like thinking about, I feel so bad saying this, but my muscle for thinking about like prioritizing pickup is just not there. Like I'm building it. And thanks to Caroline, it's a forcing mechanism. I'm like, oh, I can go pick up my child. But it's like we do live kind of on autopilot. And just to pivot a little, I'm curious, like your current marriage, you are blissful.
He must annoy you sometimes.
Oh yeah. I mean,
okay, of course.
We are a regular married couple. I mean, we've been married 9 years. We've been together, I don't know, 11 years, something like that. Like it's not like in my new book, Between Chapters, I included this essay I wrote about how Kyle always, at the beginning was like, I want the butterfly. I said to him, the butterflies are going to go away. And he was like, no, they're never going to go away. And I have all these examples of how I get so stressed and I don't notice. And even though the butterflies are there, I'm just not seeing them sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
But no, we have our share of, stuff like anybody else. But I feel 100% convinced that we are the right people for each other and we have a lot of fun. And he's so awesome. I mean, he's like, I have so much appreciation for him. I mean, literally, this is like a brag. He literally went and filled up my car with gas yesterday. I mean, that is just so nice.
And you're like a little teenager. Nice. I can't. The way you're talking about him, you're like lighting up. It's really sweet.
No, but like, that's my love language. When he takes stuff like off my plate like that.
Right.
It's so amazing.
Without asking for it.
And plus he's so funny. So I just really enjoy his company. So yeah, it's great. It was like an unexpected development.
And you robbed the cradle like I did.
I did.
I don't know what the age difference is, but I feel like with each year, I'm like, women tend to, like, I'm always like, oh no, like Doug's like Benjamin Button. I'm like, you got to age with me, dude.
I know. I'm a little bit behind my husband. And I'm like, ooh, you're getting some grays and I'm not yet. You know?
At one point I was like, well, maybe I should just go gray. And he's like, no.
Right. No, Caroline's like,
I think the older you get, the hotter you have to just feel. So if gray makes you feel hot, that's great. To me, it
very few women can pull off gray, but Caroline's at dinner with her husband and he's complaining that he feels kind of fat. And she's like, well, I feel really great. I'm hot.
After also having 2 babies and feeling disgusting, like for, it's like 2 full years of your life. I'm like, well.
Wait, how old are your kids?
They're 9 and 6.
And you actually also are very open. I think more so like when you started being open, I feel like you were one of the first women, at least in our kind of larger, universe, that was really open about like feeling
Depressed
sad,
and
feeling less
we love
than,
meds.
feeling like you don't,
Obviously.
you don't look good or you feel overweight. Like you talk about, you know, eating, you talk about the beer being the kind of
social lubricant.
And like, what gives you that strength? Because as somebody who talks about being so shy, like it takes serious courage to put yourself out there like that.
I know it seems like it wouldn't make sense, but for some reason when I write, I feel I can put anything out there and I would not feel comfortable necessarily talking about it. But when I start writing, I can share, I can like tap into exactly how I feel. And then I think what happened is I had positive reinforcement early on, right? I had this article that I wrote that I didn't intend to be an article. I have to give my mom all the credit here.
I know she forced you, but at that age, given your nature, I'm surprised you weren't mortified that she pushed it out there.
Well, I always wanted to be a writer though. And so when she encouraged me to send it to 17, at first I was a little hesitant. And I also didn't think there was any chance that it would get picked up. But then when they bought it, and it was this whole article about how I was unhappy with my body and I had gained all this weight after divorce and blah, blah, blah. It really connected me to so many people when it came out. And yeah, was I nervous? I was nervous. I also was proud because this is like, it was closer to my goal of wanting to be an author. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
And since then, I mean, had that not happened, I'm not sure where my sharing would have gone, but I have found that the more authentic I am, and I'm not trying to share for shock value. There's plenty I don't share. I mean, I choose carefully what I share and what I don't share. And that's important for everybody to do, but I'm not trying to like exploit my life.
No, you're sharing it in the benefit of others, you know, to make them feel better.
I also do think though, when you share, how people react to it tells a lot about them. Like there are a lot of people who
are like, ooh,
oh, Zibby, you're so brave. And they
right,
don't
with the
mean
eyes
that in a positive way at all. I've
Like
been events where people have said things like that with the sort of, you know, and I'm like, okay, great. But like, you're maybe not my people then.
Or maybe you're just so miserable.
1000%.
I'd be like, I feel so bad. I've had a woman say that once, like something like that. It's like, I feel so bad that you feel bad that I'm brave for this. This feels easy.
And I see what they mean. I see what people mean when they say brave, but it's really not bravery. I don't feel it's bravery. I feel it's more like I'm just offering up a piece of myself and you can take it. You can stomp your foot on it and make me feel terrible. And some people do. And I guess that's their right. But for the people who I feel need it and can use it, I think I'm just offering something up that'll hopefully make them feel better. And I would have felt better had I read something like this. And I continue to do that. And it's just the way I see the world. I was just like flying back here from LA and I happened to like, my eye happened to catch on the label in my pants, like the size. And it was one of those annoying like European labels, which like, why did they ever do that? It's so annoying. But anyway, I looked at the number on my pants, which I hadn't really like thought about. And I was just like, that would have really ruined my day before. Like seeing a number that like I would have imbued with all this meaning and power. Like I don't even know what it translates to in US sizes.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I don't care. It's not important to me. And I used to let something so small take up like my entire vision. Just the number of what pants size I was wearing that day.
What changed? Was it a medicine for you? Like what?
I mean, it was a lot of things. But the point is like I saw it and then I had to go back to my seat on the plane and I wrote a whole essay about it. Yeah, like I don't just like think about things. I like
you process
I have
by
to write about it. What changed it? Yeah, I mean, I've been on Manjaro. I'm very open about this for a couple of years, although I'm just also feeling like maybe it's not working as well. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm going to go on this book tour and talk about how much I love Manjaro. And I've like gained a few pounds back, but it's fine. Anyway, but I think having the food noise disappear because of that a couple of years ago.
I did the same thing. I was like, I was a chubby kid. And then I was not chubby for like my adolescence and young adulthood, but it was definitely high up in my brain of like, did I exercise? Did I eat? And it would ruin me too. And post my second child, I felt like I couldn't get back to where I was. And I went on Zepbound, a small dose, and I changed my whole life.
Yeah.
Like it's important. It's crazy. If you don't have that noise, you don't get it. But like I'd put on pants and if they were tight, my whole day was ruined.
But I'm hoping, and I feel like even for like the next generation, so to speak, like I want them to know, and maybe you just have to learn it yourself or get to a point where it's okay. Like that the size of your pants like means nothing.
Agree.
Like
Right.
think about it. And like it means nothing. It's who you are as a person. Like
But
anyway.
for me, like,
I agree.
do you really think it's the size of the pants? Because I fixate and obsess and have similar, you know, kind of ruminations. But I feel like it's never about what I'm ruminating about. Like, I
Thank
don't.
God for medicine. No, but honestly, like, I mean, we're mic'd and medicated, but I was a fucking nut job before I went on my SSRI. Honestly, my husband looked at me after my second child and he was like, you need to go on this. You need to go
Whereas
on
I had
something."
no idea. I just like,
How did you have no
lived- I
idea
just, like,
you were
walked around
insane?
with a huge boulder in my shoe every day.
How did you not know you were insane?
I don't know.
I guess
don't
I did.
know.
When you knew Eva before meds, did she just look like she had it together?
I don't feel, I mean, I don't,
It's okay. Be
I
honest.
haven't noticed as a major life shift. I
Right.
feel like you've always been amazing. You're always smiling and kind and warm and enthusiastic and like, you
Yeah,
know.
I guess I was always that. That was always my through line. But I think my inner monologue has changed. Whereas it used to be everything was from a place of kind of fear and wanting to be liked. And now I'm much more from a place of like,
Authenticity.
I want to focus on the people I love versus making sure that everyone thinks I'm a nice person.
Yes. I wonder if that's like a function of getting older too, that like as we get older, you start with wanting everybody to like you and this pyramid like keeps going up till you get to like, I really, want my close circle and like, I would like my family to love me. Like if only my kids are,
I agree, but I also think it's parents and it's role models, and I think you wrote. I also loved this Father's Day article you wrote. I think it was like the 30 things that your father taught you, and one I think was not to give a fuck about what people think. Is that true?
Yes. I think he may be better at that. Who knows? But
That had to have left an imprint.
yeah, he very much thinks that if people are, not your people and they're being mean or whatever, just forget it. Like move on. And it's similar almost to what I was saying to you when you were talking about like people writing back about Jewish stuff and just I'm like, forget it. Like I don't give those people a second of my mind share.
Right.
Like, unless it's like, I mean, occasionally I do. Fine. But most of the time it's like block, delete. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that was sort of what he meant is like, if people are outliers and really, not on your side, just like block and delete and move on, because there are enough people out there who will be on your side.
And I think you're right. As you get older, you become who you are and you're not worried anymore about who you're offending, and you just want real people around you.
I'm scared I'm 38. I'm really scared for when I hit 50. I'm just going to be like verbal diarrhea.
No.
I don't even know. I'll have one friend at that point.
I had this post that I just did about books that I love, and I did 5 books that deserve the hype and 5 that I think should have gotten more hype.
Ooh.
And it's gone viral for whatever reason. I don't know. Anyway, but in the comments, what I find so interesting is there are people who absolutely love the book. And then there are people like, what are you talking about? Like that book was so boring. And there are just as many people who love it, but people feel so strongly about the same thing. That's how they feel about people. Right.
Right.
But I also think that we were told early on, because obviously we're a little controversial, that it's better to be hated and loved than just be like accepted by everybody. And I think that's a good book in a way. It's sort of like someone really feels passionate about it and loves it, and it could really turn someone off. That means that it struck something in somebody, versus just a boring book you forgot. Actually, that brings us to the book of the week.
Woo!
Between Chapters. All right. So
pre-order your copy now.
Zibby, you want to give us
September?
Yep. September 22nd.
You want to give us a little quick synopsis?
Sure. Between Chapters, How I Started Over, Took Some Chances, and Found the Plot is about a decade of my life of reinvention, where I went from being a stay-at-home mom on the Upper East Side, where Eva and I were hanging out, to divorced and then remarried mother, podcaster, bookstore owner, publisher, and this period of time where I took, as I took chances, as I tried new things and fell in love and made a lot of mistakes and laughed a lot and cried a lot. And while I was going through it all, I was writing about it. And there's everything from essays like A Mother's Right to Sanity, where I was lamenting having to, bring in empty toilet paper rolls to my kids' preschool, all the way to my kids
That
leaving,
is so annoying when you do stuff like that.
all the way up to my kids preparing to leave for college, which they're doing in the fall. So for me, it is a chapter of my life that in one way is ending as they go off to school, even though I have 2 younger kids. So it's everything from loss, Jewish issues, as we were talking about. I have an essay from after the Pittsburgh attacks to a couple weeks after October 7th. I have losing my stepfather, but then I have like completely messing up when I told my kids about the birds and the bees and like oversharing.
I mean, I'm sorry. Who knows how to do that?
I mean, it was not good. But I think it was the funniest essay I've like ever
Can you
written.
tell,
And I had to
tell us a little bit about that?
tone it down for the book, so unbelievably, because it was even more.
I have to hear this.
Wait,
I kind of want to hear
us.
You
You don't have to tone it down here.
Yeah.
No. But basically, when the kids were at a certain grade, they sent home a video they wanted us to play for the kids about puberty and what it meant. And they had all these frequently asked questions. I didn't realize the frequently asked questions were hyperlinked to specific answers. I thought they were just the frequently asked questions that I was supposed to answer for the kids. And they got really into it. And so it's like, what is a hand job? What is a blowjob? What is anal sex? All this stuff. And
That's a lot. What grade were these kids in?
4th grade.
Whoa!
I know. I'm
4th grade?
I know.
What is a blowjob?
Right. So
No, that was the question.
No, anal sex. That's worse.
But apparently they all hyperlinked to something that said, we will be getting into this in 7th and 8th grade. Please don't talk to your kids about it. But I didn't know that. So I was like trying to explain some of these concepts. I stopped at some point and they were like hysterically laughing. And then I won't even go into it, but
That's amazing.
It was pretty funny.
it was probably one of their favorite conversations with you.
Oh my gosh.
That is so horrible and
But-
horrifying as a parent. Like
Why can't the school, like, how hard is it to delete that section and then reintroduce
Isn't
it in
that their
7th
job?
grade?
Right?
Like, they couldn't
I'm sorry,
create
that's
2
their
versions
job.
of the handout.
Dude,
I know.
that's-
I don't
we're
even know why they were in there.
that's their job. Like, why are you doing that? No, that's their job. No pun intended. Hand job. But like, why are you doing that? Like, that should be like their health class.
Yeah.
Like
It was going to be in the health class, but they wanted to prepare us in case the kids had questions about it.
I'm like
Oh,
you, though.
God.
I am very direct with my kids. I'm trying to decide if I'm allowed to tell this story. But
I'm scared. I'm
we
really
were
scared.
at dinner and Eleanor ordered this huge mozzarella stick and she was being funny, sticking the whole thing in her
Oh
mouth.
my God.
And I'm like, Eleanor, stop it. That looks like you're giving a blowjob. And she goes, how do you know what that is? And I said, because I used to give them to your father.
Oh my God. Was
And
Doug there?
unfortunately, she loves that story so much that every time we're with friends, she's like, guess what my mom said?
Oh, that's
But like, I
Wait,
thought
was
it was,
Doug there?
yeah,
What did he say?
I don't know. But
My husband would have been horrified. Like, my daughter will be like, I don't get it. Like, why can't you just get me a baby sister? Like, can't you just get one? And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Well, she's like, well, can I just tell your stomach like one more? I'm like, I can't do this. I don't know how to explain it. Even though I can say anything, just feels a little strange.
I don't know. I'm pretty
For
clear.
you,
It's
clear
like
you're very comfortable.
the penis goes in the vagina.
Oh my
The dad's
God.
sperm goes in the mom's egg. Like, I sort of feel like being a scientist
I think
about
my
it.
kids are a little 6 feels like I don't know how to handle
You
it.
don't have to do it at 6.
No,
Just wait.
right?
Yeah.
I'm
No,
just
they're
like
not
someone else
ready
will tell
yet.
you.
But like, I don't even know why it's called the birds and the bees. What do they
I
have
don't
to
know.
do with it?
It's like birds and bees. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I still call it that. I'm sure nobody else calls it that. I mean, I don't know. They didn't call it that in school.
I like the birds
Right,
and the bees.
right.
That's probably because parents didn't want to have to say, we're going to talk about sex. And so somebody was like, the birds and the bees.
Yeah.
You know? No.
Maybe. Caroline, do you have a meme of the week? Because I do.
Let's hear your meme of the week. Because I'm curious. Because usually
It's
it's,
the
me
one your
coming up
mom
with it.
shared with me.
Oy, yay, yay. You want to share that
You
one?
share it.
No, you share it.
You're better at saying
Okay,
it.
fine. It's an aggressive one. It's the snake one.
Yeah.
There's a meme where somebody says, I tell people I'm afraid of snakes and spiders, but really I'm afraid of being fat and poor. So that's the meme of the week. What should our word of the week be? We didn't even think about that.
I think the word of the
Let's
week.
ask our writer over here. Do you have
Yeah.
a word of the week, like a word that somebody should know or that you like using?
How about reinvention?
Ooh.
And how would you define reinvention? I know we're so annoying.
No, I mean, look at you two. You started this podcast. Let's wait and see where this goes. This is so exciting, right?
Yeah, it is
I mean,
exciting.
it's a
Thank
new
you.
chapter for both of you. And I think that if we all just allow ourselves a little more grace and a little bit of an open door, taking those tiny next steps, you don't know what it's going to lead to. But that's where reinvention comes from. Just turning the page, starting it over, doing things a little bit differently, and then letting the universe unfold.
I agree. And listening to your heart.
Oh, I love that.
You know?
Yeah.
Thank you
This has
so
been
much, Zibby.
so special and fun. And Zibby's also the author of many other books that I also love, like on Being Jewish Now. And we'll put in the show notes everything that you've done because you are a true powerhouse and you really give women inspiration.
Thank you.
So thank you for taking the time to be on our podcast.
Thank you so much for being here. Love you so much.
Love you too. So fun.
Mic drop.